Welcome viewers once again to another round of Star Mazda Australian Championship brought to you by Slipstream. Tonight we are coming to you from Phillip Island for round 10 of the championship. In the commentary box with me tonight as usual is Andrew Gaines, but we do have a special guest, Adrian Jarvis from RRTV is joining us tonight. Good evening Andrew, good evening Adrian, how are we?
Yeah, really good, mate. Happy to be here. Pretty excited about tonight's race. Good to have Adrian in the box with us as well. Should be a really good night.
Yeah, thanks, Trent. Hey, Andy. Welcome, viewers. Yeah, it'll be a great race. Phillip Island should be bringing on a great field of action here tonight, Trent. And no, thank you. Let me come up here for this evening's call.
Yeah, it's good to have you up here, mate. It's always good to have an extra voice in the box just to sort of bounce things around. So, and you've got plenty of experience with Bernie from RRTV, so you're definitely a welcome addition tonight. Tonight, yeah, as we said, we're at Phillip Island. I'll just go through the track guide quickly. 12 turns here, 4 kilometre track length. Skies are partly cloudy. We've got a wind speed of 8 kilometres an hour, which is a tailwind actually down the front straight. Humidity is at 47%. Air temps are fairly cool, 20 degrees, but with the little cloud cover that we have, the track temperature is fairly high at 34 degrees, but we do actually have a fair bit of grip here. We ran some support races for the V8 Supercar online Premier Series on the weekend, and times are a little bit quicker than those, so yeah, we should be in for some good racing as those races were on the weekend. I might take us through the grid quickly while we still can before the race starts. So on pole position we do have Gary Hamilton with a 128.392. I don't think these are actually right. Hang on a moment. I think I have to wait for the session to change actually, so we'll just keep talking amongst ourselves until we get there.
Yeah, look, just touching on what's been happening during the week. You mentioned before that we've done some of. Sorry, mate, I can't sort of hear the drivers' briefings going on at the moment.
That's all right. I'll just go through the championship standings at the moment. So we can see there Gary Hamilton from Element Motorsports is currently leading the championship after 10 rounds and with after 9 rounds, sorry, with drop rounds included. He's 691 points. Riley Preston in second place from ERA Maverick Welding 3 on 659. So there's a pretty decent gap there, but Gary has used both of his drop rounds, so he can't afford any bad results from here on. Marcelo Rivera, our reigning series champion, sitting in third place, only 5 points behind Riley, so it's very close there. David Jellings from G&T Racing, currently in fourth on 632, and We have Mark Rayner in 5th place from Team X-Ray, which I think they might have taken out the team championship possibly last season on 629. Scott Goodman, Simon Fiegel, Martin Slavasi, Paul Tajivara, Andrew Kiss round out the top 10.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a switcheroo, I guess, at the top of the ladder. Gary's just been super consistent, as he said before. He's used up all his rounds, all his drop rounds. I think he's only been in 7 of the 10 races, or this has been the 10th race, so he's only in 7 of the previous 9 races. But he's been super consistent. He's been in the top 10 every race he's been in. I think he's got about 5 podiums or something like that. So he's been super consistent, and that's what's got him there. And he's always been fast. He had some really good racing here on the weekend as part of the sports series for the Premier Series of the V8s. Really showed his speed there. Got a little bit more, I guess, practice, and I think he sees it. He sees the end goal now. I think a couple of weeks ago he probably wasn't really thinking about winning the championship, but if you look at it now, he's being at the top. All he's got to do is be super consistent, be in the top 5 probably in the next 3 races, and I think he'll take out the championship.
He's definitely, I'm just having a look at a driver profile now of Gary Hamilton. We can see there he's had 7 starts this season with 2 wins, 5 podiums and 7 top 10s. So of those 7 starts he's finished in the top 10 7 times and in the top 5 6 times. So he's definitely consistent there, and it's certainly paying off with where he's sitting currently in the championship in 1st place.
Yeah, super consistent, and Gary's, he's just such a nice guy and a really fair racer as well. I don't think anybody's got anything bad to say about him. He's just super fast, but he's got a lot of competition in this split tonight. A lot of big drivers back, and there's a couple of drivers pinching at his heels for the championship as well.
As the session changes state, I can now take us through the grid. Got Josh Anderson on pole, Marcelo Rivera in 2nd place, Troy Burgess in 3rd, Dylan Francis 4th, and Gary Hamilton in 5th place. Craig Edwards is in 6th, Justin Strickland 7th, Scott Newton in 8th, David Pegler in 9th, and Hayden Dodman in 10th place. 11th is Damien Carr, 12th Mark Rayner, David Jellings in 13th, Simon Fiegel in 14th, and Mitchell McLeod in 15th place. Daniel Ackland, Andy Carey, Paul Tajivara, Scott Goodman and Grant Hines round out the 20, with Michael Hammond, Martin Slavasi, Jason Vance and Brock Creamer in 24th place. So we're just waiting for the cars to grid up now. Gary's got a pretty good start there, but so did the front row. So heading into turn 1, hopefully it's clean through here.
Well, Simon Fiegel's off there. Trent, looks like he's gone wide on turn 1. Looks like we've had a fairly big incident here too, guys. We've got another Maverick out, Andy Carey, and there was a car on the side as well.
Yeah, we've got Mitchell McLeod in the pits at the moment with a badly damaged car, Simon Fiegel as well, and Damien Carr was also in the pits. So those 3 involved in what looked to be a really massive incident. Yeah, we saw some epic racing in the 2nd race of last weekend in the Star Mazda between the top 3. The commentators couldn't keep their eyes off, but I think we're going to see that again tonight. What it could be between these top 4 that we're seeing right now. Gary Hamilton's up to second. He's probably sitting behind Joshua for a while, but he'll probably want to get in front of him and try and make a little bit of a break. And Gary just needs to have a bit of a smart race. He probably needs to finish in front of Marcelo to keep that championship just a little bit step ahead. But if he finishes just behind Marcelo, that's okay as well. But he's got to finish these last 3 races. So not doing anything silly, keeping out of trouble. Maybe keeping pressure on Marcelo, maybe make him have a bit of a mistake, making a mistake. Yeah, definitely. He's a real racer, and I guess he wants to stamp a little bit of dominance. It's going to be another championship driver. I mean, we haven't had a double, like we said before. Marcelo's obviously trying to take that double championship, but nobody's been able to do it yet. But Gary, looking good for this season. Yeah, we might go to season 5 before we see a double champion. Yeah, speaking of Hayden, he had a really good result at Watkins Glen last week, coming third. Really good racing there again. Riley Preston came second. I don't see him in this race, which I'm really quite surprised. I think he's sitting up there in the championship as well, possibly second in the championship. So he's going to be missed out of this round and missing those points for the championship. But Hayden Dodman, third last week. What can he do this week?
Yeah, he's usually, he has in past rounds actually been up there, thereabouts, near the top 5 or so he does get himself some good results, but looks like Craig has managed to get a little bit of a gap now over Hayden, and he's starting to close in on that top 3.
I mentioned a little while ago Team X-Ray. I believe they came third or second in one of the teams' championships. They're in the lead at the moment with the team's championship, and if you have a look at where everybody is at the moment, you've got Mark Rayner, who's Team X-Ray, and Justin Strickland, both up there in the top 10 at the moment. So they're really securing that top 10 championship spot.
Yeah, that's true. They're up there in the top 10. There's obviously good points. This new point system is definitely mixing things up a fair bit this season, and we keep mentioning it every race, but it's certainly something worth mentioning because it has actually changed the outlook, I guess, of the championship this season.
Grant Hines is just coming out of the pits now. I believe he's made his mandatory stop.
Yep, he was stationary for 13.4 seconds. All these drivers that he's coming out in the middle of, they've all made their stops as well. Troy Burgess is the front runner in currently 11th place, who has made his pit stop. It was a pretty fast 10.6 seconds, so that's where he's at the moment. David Pegler's one of these drivers in this group back here. And we'll just have a look at a driver profile of David here. He's had 4 starts so far this season. one top 10, which came at Watkins Glen by looks of it with his best result last week with the 7th position. Currently down the order a little bit in 42nd position in the championship, but that's purely because he's only raced 4 out of the 9 races that we've had, so he's down there unfortunately, but he's certainly a driver with speed. He actually set, even though it was within draft, 27.995 during the practice sessions right before practice, and he's the only car in the last week to actually crack into the 27s, so well done to David.
Yeah, he's definitely a dark horse, David Pegler. He's a quiet guy. I know he has a lot going on outside of iRacing, so he can't make all the races. But when he does race, he's very good to watch, and he's very quick. So it's always good to have David in the series. I can say as well, we've got Mitchell McLeod sitting in the pit lane. He's been in there for 2 or 3 minutes. So whether he's used up his fast repair or he's just decided not to come back out, I'm not really too sure.
Yeah, I think he's still sitting in there from the first lap incident that happened. And it looks like even though Simon Fiegel, he was involved in that first lap incident as well, he's back out on track now. He's currently a lap down. That may change once the leaders come into pit. But yeah, at the moment he is a lap down.
It looks like Joshua's made his pit stop there too, guys. So he's the first lead car at the moment done his pit stop. He did 11.3 there, guys.
Yeah, he's another quick stop there from Joshua. He's just coming down into MG at the moment. As we have a look where our leaders are, they're coming through the southern loop. So that's about the gap that we're looking at the moment. These guys will not want to battle. It looks like they're going to, which is just going to play into the hands of Joshua.
As you mentioned before, you were racing with Joshua last weekend, and he was able to type a couple of messages to you about not racing each other, so you weren't losing time to the guys in front. I've just seen another message come through from him, asking whoever is racing or whoever is around to not battle. So yeah, he's again typing and driving, which is quite amazing.
And it looks like Craig Edwards, and he was involved with the especially the three lead cars really over the entire weekend were Joshua, Gary Hamilton and Craig Edwards, and that's possibly who he was talking to at the time. But this group of 3 cars here with Joshua, Craig and Troy Burgess, these guys are going to want to work together, because obviously Joshua, we know, was in the lead of the race, so these guys will be right up there as well, so we should be in for a good battle at the end of the race once the pit stops have played out.
It's quite amazing the mindset, isn't it? I mean, Joshua Anderson, he doesn't want to battle and have I guess close racing and battle. He wants to win. I mean, he's asking people, let's not battle, let's catch the leaders, and then we'll battle when we're up there. So really wanting to win.
Yeah, he was looking forward to this race. Due to other commitments outside of iRacing, he doesn't get the chance to really race too much on the Thursday nights. So as soon as he knew we're at Phillip Island this week, he jumped at the chance to race here tonight. So I'm sure he'll be wanting to make it 3 from 3 this week at Phillip Island.
Yeah, Phillip Island's one of the only circuits probably in the calendar that we go, or we have been to every season. It's always produced great racing, and traditionally it's been the last race on the calendar, the 12th race in the season. Past winners have been Dean O'Brien from season 1, Marcelo Rivera in season 2, and Aaron C. Lee was season 3 winner. So Marcelo could be a double winner here, but he's been chased down by Gary. I'm just wondering what Gary's mindset is. Is it just stay on the back of Marcelo and not go for the win, grab as many points as I can, or is it go for the win?
I think I was in Gary's shoes at the moment. I'd just be wanting to sit behind Marcelo. As long as Marcelo's setting a decent pace, which they're doing 28.7s, the both of them on the last lap. And Josh Andrews done a 28.6, so lap times are fairly comparable. So you'd want to just sit there, not battle. If you need to, just roll out of the throttle slightly towards the end of the straight, so you don't have to try and make that pass, because as soon as you go side by side, you're both just slowing each other down. So if I was in Gary's position, I'd definitely just be opting to just sit behind Marcelo and wait till the pit stops.
Can be a bit of a mind game too, because if you're Marcelo, you know that Gary's got a toe up his sleeve, so he can use that just about any time he wants. So you're always going to expect that he's going to make a lunge somewhere. Not a reckless lunge, but he's going to get that toe and he's going to be a little bit quicker on a track. So you know it's going to happen, you just don't know when.
Yeah, it definitely does look like Gary's just decided to just sit in behind Marcelo and not fight. He certainly, as you said, the toe that he has, he certainly had plenty of opportunities to make that pass, but he's chosen to just sit in behind because their last laps were a 1:28 flat for Marcelo and a 1:28.3 from Gary Hamilton. And Josh Anderson had a 1:28.3 as well, so still fairly close lap times, but yeah, they'll have to watch themselves. I might actually jump on an onboard with Gary Hamilton for a pit stop. Marcelo's just dived into the pits, so we'll just go on board with Gary now and enjoy a lap around Phillip Island.
Scott Newton just made his mandatory pit stop. He's leaving pit lane right now.
Now Gary's going to want to come in this lap, I think. Marcelo Rivera has come out right in the thick of this battle with Josh Anderson. So, or maybe if these guys fight and go slow, they might be able to, or Gary might be able to gap them. But I think he'll probably come in this lap.
He's in.
As we're watching Gary Hamilton now come to the pit lane, we'll keep an eye on the guys that he's racing to see where he comes out.
So has Craig Edwards done his pit stop? Trent, can you see that?
Yes, he has. Josh Anderson, Marcelo Rivera, Craig Edwards, Troy Burgess, Scott Newton, all those guys have all made their stops.
This is about to get really exciting. We've got about 5-6 guys here that are going to be really bunched up and they're super fast.
So Gary Hamilton has dropped and on his way out of the pits. As these guys come flying down the front straight. Be interesting to see what happens here. And Gary's way in front.
I think he's made it, yeah.
I'm actually surprised at that. I thought the gap would be a lot closer.
Good strategy.
Although Marcelo's pit stop was about 1.5–2 seconds faster, so Gary must have got onto pit lane, his quick pit stop, and out of the pits rather quickly, because that's definitely given him a net gain. Although these guys work together with that draft, they will be on the back of him in no time.
If I was Craig Edwards right now, I'd be sending Joshua a message saying, let's not battle.
I don't think anyone can type as well as Josh can. Probably end up crashing. I was trying to type during the yellow flag last night, and that was pretty difficult to do that.
I have trouble unticking my tyres.
So have a look here. Gary Hamilton, the gap back to Josh Anderson at the moment is 0.7 of a second. And that, I feel, is going to close up rather quickly.
Really surprised to see David Jellings in position 20. Racing on his own, basically, at the back of the field. Something must have happened to David, because he's usually a real fast guy.
Yeah, he's quite a way off the pace. Yeah, I think there must have been an incident of some sort for David at some point to have him that far down the order.
See Jason
You can
Bence.
see here.
Oh, sorry, mate. Go ahead.
Yeah, we can see here now Josh is actually closing up on Gary now, so this is a three-way battle with Craig right behind him, guys. This is really intense as Josh is having a look on the inside there and trying to make that stick is a bit hard.
And it's just the same three that were battling all weekend. They've found their way to the top again. This time they got a little bit of company though with Marcelo Rivera right there with them. Troy Burgess and Scott Newton just behind them, battling what effectively, well, they're currently 9th and 10th, but the top 4 cars are still yet to pit.
Got Paul Tajibara just doing his mandatory pit stop now. We've mentioned Paul before. He's just come in leaps and bounds. I mean, he's a frequent top split driver now. I think a couple of seasons ago, he's probably a second split driver. He's really found some pace in the last couple of races.
We'll have a look at the front here. Justin Strickland's way out in front by himself at the moment, but he is yet to stop, as I said earlier. Jason Benson, Proc Creamer, second and third on track at the moment, but also are yet to pit. And the leaders are about 15 seconds behind these guys, so it's just a matter of time really once these come into the pits. I think the pit window is around about the 15 lap mark, so they'll be having to make their stops very soon. So yes, we now have this 4, 5, 6-way battle going for the lead at the moment, with cars just swapping positions left, right and centre.
They're given plenty of room, aren't they? Like there's no wheel touching yet and any of that, so that these guys are doing a fantastic job here at the moment. As we see Gary trying to go up through here, through the hay shed, up through to Lukey Heights here at the moment. Hopefully he'll get the line here as he does. So great driving by these boys.
Yeah, something we witnessed on the weekend too, the way that these guys can just race, and I think the trust that they put in each other to know that they're not going to get taken out is pretty phenomenal. If you ask me, like, they're pretty much doing qualifying laps with other cars around them. The stress levels will be extremely high.
But the good thing about these cars too is they're fairly predictable. I mean, you sort of, if you're trying to do this kind of racing in a V8 supercar, there'd be panel rubbing and banging and people flying off. Even with the best drivers, it happens. But these cars are fairly predictable. They're fairly easy to control. But as you said, guys, it's the respect that they've got of the other drivers around them.
Plus, with the tin tops, you do have panels that you can rub against each other. Here, you've got wheels. You touch wheels, and you're pretty much off the track. I'm not sure if we just saw a little bit of contact there. No, must be imagining things.
Actually gets really quite difficult being 3 or 4 guys behind, because you know you catch the guy really quickly, and sometimes there's no way around, so you have to off throttle a little bit. You lose a little bit of time to the guy behind you, so it's a little bit of strategy, it's a little bit of luck. You just have to be really careful when you're behind a pack like this.
These guys look like they're boarding Noah's Ark. They're going 2 by 2, 2 rows of 2 here, fighting for this lead.
I think the two catbirds here really are Troy and Scott at the moment. They're just sitting here waiting for something to happen. They think something might happen here, and it could well do. But you know, these guys are quite talented, as we've just just said. But great racing at the moment. This is a phenomenal feat from these guys, and it looks like they're dragging a few more cars along as well.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't be waiting for these guys to make a mistake, because they generally don't. So, but you know, stranger things have happened, that's for sure.
Yeah, they're certainly certainly operating at a very high level. These guys, it's hard to explain to the viewers out there what it's actually like driving this close in this proximity at these speeds, constantly lap after lap, and how much effort it actually does take, not only physically, the mental strength that you need to have just to keep hitting those marks lap after lap. Right, jump on board Craig Edwards here to have a view of the fight that's happening in front of him. These cars are really about momentum too. It's very important to carry as much momentum through the corners. They don't have a lot of power, so as soon as you lose that speed, you do have a tendency of losing quite a lot of time.
Yeah, that's right. They're about 240 horsepower. We're seeing them do about 245 to 250 kilometres down the main straight here. But like you said, quite a simple car to drive, but not an easy car to drive really fast.
And we heard Craig just getting on the limiter towards the end of the straight there with 3 cars in front of him. He's getting the massive draft from these cars in front. Fastest lap at the moment is a 28.047. It'll be interesting to see whether or not we can crack into the 27s or not during this race. It is quite possible with the draft, but I think it'll take a pretty sort of magical effort for that to happen. As you see Gary Hamilton going for the move on Marcelo Rivera into turn 1. And he's got that done well and truly before turn-in, so it'll be interesting to see how many lead changes there's actually been in this race, because I'm sure there will have been a few.
Yeah, we can see all these guys really wanting to win, but we know only one person can win it. But then there's 2 steps to the podium still up for it, and I don't know about you guys, but there's a big difference between coming 4th and 3rd. Although there's no virtual podium to jump on or a podium to jump on, it's still having your name up there as 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So you've got about 4 other drivers here that are battling for those podium positions.
We'll just have a look back in the field a little bit further. There's a 4-car group behind our leading group. We've got Hayden Dodman, Dylan Francis, Justin Strickland and Mark Rayner all fighting pretty much very same as that top group, side-by-side action, but all clean and giving plenty of racing room, which is very important, and showing some actual real racecraft in the way that they're driving these cars.
It looks like we've actually got 3 groups of battles out there, guys. Even back here from 12th with Brent Hines, we can go all the way down to Jason Vance there in 18th, so that's quite a big battle pack as well. They're not on top of each other, but they're within a few seconds of each other, so it's quite another big pack. So you just got your 3 groups there at the moment.
As we're having a look now at the group that you were just talking about, Michael Homan and Grant Hines fighting at the moment down the main straight coming into turn 1. There's probably one lonely car on the track, and that probably is David Pegler, which is in between the second group and the third group that Adrian just mentioned. Just sitting there with just constantly lapping at the moment. I don't know if these cars behind him are catching him or not, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to catch the group that's in front of him at the moment.
Yeah, some interesting battles going up on that lead group. If we turn our attention to last week at Watkins Glen, we had Troy Burgess, who came home in 4th place, and Scott Newton in 5th place. They're battling again on track position right now, for I think it's 4th and 5th as well. So Scott Newton's best result for this season was a 5th place last week at Watkins Glen. So he'll be trying to one up that this weekend.
Yeah, Scott also scored a podium in the Saturday race on the weekend as well, so we know he's got the pace on this track, so certainly something that he'll be, as you said, he'll be wanting to better that best position in an official championship race.
Yeah, sorry guys. Looks like Craig Edwards has just had an off previous lap there, just coming onto turn one and just lost the lead pack here at the moment. But if he hangs in there, he might be doing okay. He's only half a second off of Scott Newton at the moment, so he could join back up and get back into this battle pack with only 5 laps remaining.
Yeah, the intensity level is certainly going to raise a little bit now. I don't think he will be too hard trying to get back onto that lead pack, as you mentioned. He's pretty much on the back of it now, so but catching's one thing, passing is a complete different thing.
And also, I think these guys are actually going to catch up some lap traffic here too, guys. So this is going to be interesting with the last few laps to go.
We did have 2 splits tonight. For those viewers out there who aren't quite sure what that means, we've had 48 drivers qualify to participate in tonight's event, but Phillip Island only holds 44 cars at a time, so we've had to split the field into 2, so there was 2 fields of 24 cars, and what we're watching here tonight are the top 24 qualifiers out of those 48 cars, so that's why there's only 24 cars here tonight. But had there been the 44 car field, potentially these guys could have been in traffic by now and could have been definitely playing an effect on this lead battle.
Yeah, we just seen a lead change with Joshua just getting a little bit of a run and overtaking Marcelo. Marcelo's gone into second place and Gary close to third. Joshua will be wanting to hang on to this from here. He's been charging up the field or just sitting back probably a little bit, but he's made it to the front end. It's been a bit of a battle for him, but he'll be putting the pedal down right now, trying to make a little bit of a gap.
Yeah, with 3.5 laps to go, it's basically go time now. These guys won't be just sitting back and waiting. They'll be pushing. They'll be pushing as hard as they possibly can. But they'll be sussing each other out, finding out what position you really want to be in coming into that last lap. Do you want to be leading? Do you want to be following? Do you think you can get the draft? All these sorts of things come into play as we head down to the last few laps.
These are the moments that you'd rather be sitting in the commentary booth than driving, because it's so much easier to watch these guys than to be racing. That's for sure, guys.
Yeah, that's a good point. It still makes you sort of cringe and wince every time they get close, and it definitely keeps you on the edge of your seat the way that these guys just race after race, corner after corner. They're just constantly side by side.
Yeah, these guys just keep delivering. I mean, we've had 3 great tracks over the last 3 races. We had Interlagos, great racing there. Watkins Glen, great racing there. Phillip Island, always a favourite, great racing here. Summit Point next weekend, or Summit Point next Thursday. That's going to be a really interesting track. I'm not sure if we've actually raced there in any season before. It's quite a small and thin track. It's going to be really interesting to see how these drivers go.
Yeah, just having a look at a replay now. Justin Strickland, unfortunately, has had a bit of contact. Might even be with his teammates heading through turn 1. Just copped a wheel, and sent him off track. Looks like it might have been Hayden Dodman. I'm sure he's probably got some damage after that. Just have a look, see if the car's driving straight. And it looks like it is. He's lucky he got away with that one. Back to live pictures now at the front of the field again. This top pack's definitely starting to spread out a little bit more now. Marcelo Rivera is currently leading. Josh Anderson in second place, and Gary Hamilton currently in third. But looks like Josh is making a move down the inside of Marcelo for the lead, and he makes that stick.
Oh, that was close. Almost contact there.
It definitely looked very close. Got to be careful. They don't want to take each other out. They've pushed this hard this long. They don't want to just lose it in the last couple of laps.
That will play right into Gary's hands, that's for sure. But they'll be putting their elbows out. Joshua is a tough racer, and Marcelo's no slouch either. They'll be putting their elbows out, as we can see.
And as we can see, there's a little little lap traffic just ahead, another ERA car, so hopefully they get out of the way and let this battle continue rather than trying to hold them up or potentially trying to benefit a teammate. I'm sure that won't happen, but once they catch them, they're going to catch them pretty quickly, and there's 6 cars here to let pass, so hopefully they allow the battle to continue. Although it looks like we're coming up to the last lap now, so they may not reach that car ahead, so it might not be a factor.
For the viewers out there that don't actually do any sim racing, you guys tell us what it's like doing a race like this. I mean, I know I've done a couple of races like this where it's really intense, and I get out of my seat and I'm actually soaking wet with sweat, just from the sheer holding onto the wheel, the pressure, the excitement of it. Gets your heart rate up a bit, but it's really quite physical.
It definitely does. As I said, I participated in those races on the weekend, and just being in this situation, you're just on, I don't know what the word is, just on alert the whole time that you're there. There's no time to rest. You're constantly watching your mirrors. You're just constantly making sure that that you're not going to hit anyone, that you're going to make the right moves at the right time, that sort of thing. So it's all very, very intense.
Look at these two going at it. No one's going to give in here.
This is the last lap and it's for the win. None of them are going to give up. We've got Gary Hamilton sniffing a little bit of a chance here as well.
Oh, Gary, you've just got to finish, mate. Don't put it in the wall.
See if he sends it down here. No, he stays.
Oh.
Contact again. Josh is definitely pushing for this. I don't think he's going to get it. I don't think the draft is quite strong enough to get him by the line, unfortunately. But we'll watch this continue all the way to the finish line.
It's going to be very close. Oh, has he got it?
Oh, very, very close.
What a brilliant effort from the boys tonight. That was textbook driving, I think, guys. This is a brilliant effort. Couldn't keep my eyes off of those top 3 guys. They just outperformed everyone, didn't they?
They certainly did. But yeah, there's still some great racing. Back further in the pack, we see this massive pack here. Looks like we've got about 7 cars there, all covered by a fairly close margin. So great racing by everybody to get home in this one. See David Jennings, not sure what happened to him during the race, but a bit unfortunate for him to finish that far down the order.
Another solid result from Dylan Francis in what looks to be 7th at the moment from G&T Racing. He's always a fast racer, but we didn't see much of him in this race. Obviously, we were following the lead pack, but a good result for Dylan.
Yeah, Dylan's another one. When he is competing, he's unfortunately missed a few rounds this season, but when he competes, he's up there, and he certainly has had some pace the last few weeks. It looks like Simon Fiegel will be our last race finisher, coming down the last corner now, and he'll be taking the checkered flag to finish in 20th position.
Just looking at the results, it's going to be hard to beat Gary. If he misses a round or he has a bad round, obviously things are going to turn on its head. But at the moment, you've got to put your money on Gary. Marcelo, even if he wins the next 2 and Gary comes, like you say, probably in the top 10 in the next 2 races, he's going to clinch the title.
That's exactly right, and it looks like Gary's going out to do some celebratory donuts if these cars could actually break traction. They're pretty hard to get going. They're an open center diff, so they don't exactly spin up too easily. Alright, we'll go through our results from that race. Marcelo Rivera does take the win, with Josh Anderson taking 2nd place, 31 thousandths of a second behind. Gary Hamilton gets himself the podium in 3rd position. Scott Newton got himself up to 4th. Craig Edwards in 5th, and Troy Burgess in 6th place with that battle at the front. Dylan Francis, as touched on earlier, finished 7th. Hayden Dodman in 8th. Mark Rayner in 9th, and Justin Strickland raiding out the top 10. 11th, we had David Pegler. He had a bit of a lonely race there tonight. Grant Hines coming home in 12th place. Good result for him. Brock Creamer. Looks like a pretty close finish between those guys, with about 7/100ths of a second between them. Martin Slavasi in 14th place. Daniel Ackland in 15th. Michael Hammond takes 16th position. Jason Vance in 17th. Paul Tarjavara in 18th. Scott Goodman in 19th. And David Jellings down there in 20th position. Simon Fiegel did finish on the lead lap by the end in 21st place, and Andy Carey was out early. Damien Carr and Mitchell McLeod, I believe, were involved in the first lap incident as well. All right, so that's round 10 of the championship run. Adrian, your thoughts on the race tonight?
Brilliant stuff. I need to start hooking up some sort of electronic device and start sucking the skill out of those drivers and start inputting it into me so I can actually get up there and do that sort of stuff, because that was just mad stuff to watch. Just wish I could have some of the talent so I could get out there and have that sort of racing, because I know it's full on and it's so enjoyable. I remember in an oval race I was wheel to wheel in an oval race in one of these cars, and it's just full on like you guys talking about. So just unbelievable, great track. Driving standards were brilliant again, so just enjoyable. Loved it.
Andrew, your thoughts on how the race went this evening?
Yeah, look, I'm just going to echo what Adrian said. It was great. I mean, these guys are delivering week after week, and generally, the last week they've done a couple of races, and it's always been like this. It's been like this every race. So those guys are, I could say, almost in a league of their own. I mean, anybody that makes the top split in this series it's got genuine pace. We know that because it's so competitive, but there's just that little notch a little bit further, and these guys are in that little notch, and they're just delivering great racing week after week. It's going to be really interesting in the next two circuits, totally different circuits. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's a good point. Summit Point, I don't think we've raced there. I think you touched on the track a little bit earlier. We haven't raced there in the Star Mazda Australian Championship yet. Very different from the tracks we've been running the last few weeks and the final round. It's more of a tight, twisty sort of track, very technical, I think, and it's going to test these drivers. Not a lot of passing opportunities. It's not a very wide track, so side-by-side racing might be a bit difficult, and it's going to take a lot of patience from the drivers to actually finish the race and have a good result. But yeah, it's definitely a race I'm looking forward to seeing.
It almost feels like a club circuit, doesn't it? Like a circuit you go to on the weekend with some mates, or some club type circuit racing. It doesn't feel like a proper racetrack.
Yeah, that's true. It's certainly a better racetrack than the Jefferson circuit that they've got over there at Summit Point. But I think these cars will do really well. It's probably a little bit bumpy in places, which might unsettle the cars a little bit. But I think, especially heading down the main straight into that first hairpin turn, is going to be the first lap might yield some incidences, but I think there's going to be some good passing opportunities for the cars down into there.
Yeah, really looking forward to that. It's always good to go to a track that we haven't been to before, but it's also good to see some of the old favourites as well. Yeah, really looking forward to next week.
All right. Well, we've got Scott Newton down there for an interview. He seems to be a regular up here in the commentary box, so I'll bring up Scott for a bit of a chat. G'day, Scott. Welcome to the Slipstream commentary box yet again. Seems to be a regular for you joining us up here after each race. How did your race go tonight? I think you finished fourth or so. Yeah, so really good result there for you.
Yeah, hey Trent. Thanks for that. Yeah, it's good to be back in the Slipstream commentary box. Yeah, I think after my qualifying pace with only about 5 laps practice, I felt sort of half decent going into the race, given the fact that SMAC had 2 support races for V8 Scops on the weekend, and yeah, to be honest, I was just looking to push forward from P8, and there was some really good battling as part of the race with Justin and Mark trying was almost optimal, I think. But yeah, given that I started P8 and gained 4 places, yeah, I think I had a pretty good result.
Yeah, it's certainly always a good sign of a good race when you've actually moved forward from your starting position. Were the track conditions much different, did you feel, from the races that you did on the weekend?
Definitely from the first race on the Saturday, just due to there not being as strong a tailwind and the gearing being changed from that first race, where we are not hitting the 6 gear limiter halfway down the pit straight, so in the draft, so which is always good. Promotes the overtaking. But yeah, to be honest, I think that I felt as though I could put the car pretty much where I wanted, which gave me the confidence to push forward. Really good.
Now for my next question I was going to ask. Oh yeah, did you actually hit the limiter at any point during the race tonight from in the slipstream with the amount of cars you had in front of you?
Yeah, I did hit the limiter probably about halfway between the first entry or the first exit of the pit lane to the second. But you had to be within probably 0.2 or 0.3 of a second behind the car in front. So it was only really when you were right behind the car in front that you were able to hit the limiter, which is about 252k, I think.
No problem. I might hand you over to see if Adrian, our guest commentator, has any questions he wants to ask.
Yeah, no, I'm good, thanks. Sorry, guys.
All good. Andrew, got any questions for Scott?
No, it's always good to talk to you, Scott. You're becoming a regular. Every time we talk to you, every week, you've just taken it up a notch. I think we were talking to you a couple of weeks ago. You're in position 15 or 10. Last week you got a 5th. Now you've got a 4th. Are we going to see a 3rd next week? Or if it's worse, are you still going to come up and talk to us?
Yeah, I'll definitely have a chat with you guys at the next race. But yeah, I think hopefully at the next race I'll be able to put it on the podium, depending on my confidence for the next round that I'm able to attend. I'm actually not sure what the next round is, but hopefully it's a decent track.
Well, I guess that depends who you're talking to. It's actually Summit Point. Yeah, look, it's one of the free tracks, and I think we've hit a few tracks this season that not a lot of people actually use. And I don't know about yourself, I haven't had much experience at Summit Point, but when I do go there to drive whatever I drive, I really enjoy it. What's your experience with Summit Point?
To be honest, my experience with Summit Point is only really in the MX-5, so absolutely zero experience in the Star Mazda. But if I manage to get to the next race, it will be probably a new learning experience for a few more than just me at that track.
Absolutely. I think there's going to be a lot of people that probably haven't really looked ahead and said, oh, what's the next track? And when they do, they're going to be very surprised, and I think it's going to catch a lot of people out. Mate, so how was your qualifying? I mean, qualifying's really tight, as you know. It's lone qualifying, so you've got no draft. You've just got yourself. It's pretty tough. One easy mistake or one simple mistake, one small mistake, it can just wipe you out. You seem to do quite well in qualifying this week. Did you leave anything on the table? Just put in a banker to make sure that you're up there, or did you really try and wring its neck?
Yeah, to be honest, I think I tried to ring it as best I could. Mainly, if I can hook up turn 2, especially on the entry and the exit, I can get a reasonable lap in. My qualifying time that I managed to get down was actually my last lap, and I only crossed the line with about 5 seconds to go before qualifying actually ended. So yeah, it was a pretty close one, given the fact that you're not able to complete the lap after the time elapses. But yeah, to be honest, I just tried to ring it as best I could, given the fact that it was.
So with this track, where do you think is the best overtaking opportunities for your driving style?
To be honest, for my driving style, I think into Honda, Turn 4, or into Siberia, because I think that it's a little bit difficult to overtake into turn 1 going too wide because of the fact that you have to sort of give way and you can't push the other car out if you're on the inside line, and you're on the outside for turn 2, so you kind of got to have a bit of a give and take there. But yeah, to be honest, I think under brakes into Honda's at least my best chance.
I find Siberia a really difficult corner. For me personally, I always have trouble with that. Is that a corner that you can get right 90% of the time, or is it a bit hit and miss?
Yeah, I think it's mainly I can hit it 90% of the time, but there may be one or two times that I've tried to attack that corner and sort of push me out wide on the exit, but that may be due to the weather or tyre condition or setup. It can be a combination of any of the three, but generally I can attack it pretty good and hit it most of the time.
Yeah, excellent, mate. Look, again, great to have a chat. Good to see you up there again, getting a great result. That's 2 top 5s in 2 races. Hopefully you can go one better next week. Do you want to have a quick shout out to your team and your sponsors?
Yeah, cheers Andy. I'd like to thank Apex Racing Academy and to Apex Racing UK, also to the sponsors Leopold Sim Steering and to Precision Sim Engineering. Cheers.
Thanks a lot, Scott. Well done, mate.
No worries, cheers fellas. Right, take it easy.
Alright, down in the interview room we've got Troy Burgess. He finished just behind Scott, so we might bring him up for a chat. G'day Troy, welcome to the Slipstream commentary box. I think it was a 5th place finish we had tonight. Pretty intense battle. The top 6 there were pretty close for a while. How did you see it from your point of view?
I was just trying to sit back and hope someone made a mistake, but unfortunately none of them did, and then last couple of laps were pretty hectic, so ended up coming 6th, which was probably a little bit disappointed. I probably should have been hopeful, well I was hoping for at least top 5, so, but anyway, it was nice to be closer to the top guys and have a good run.
There was certainly some close quarter racing up there at the front, but again it was clean. Plenty of room was given between the guys. Is it hard to place the trust in the guys you're racing, knowing that they're not going to take you out?
No, not really. I think all the top 5 and 6 guys were very respectful and gave each other room. It was just hard if you go for an overtake and then you find that you're caught on the outside, or you come in too tight to a corner and then you've got pressure from behind as well. So if you get caught on the outside, you end up losing a spot when you're trying to gain a spot.
Yeah, that's true. It's hard. Do you find the intensity of the battling, once you finish the race, you kind of, I'm glad that was over, and you sort of find yourself in a bit of a pool of sweat?
Well, I'm in Sydney at the moment. It's pretty hot in the room I'm in, so it's about 30 odd degrees at the moment. So I just feel like I've just done a real race. But look, I think the intensity is good. I mean, it's good to be running with the top guys. That was my aim when I sort of came into the series, to try and get towards the top. So just need to probably work on my racecraft with these guys, because they defend pretty good, and you lose spots pretty quickly.
Yeah, you're certainly a name that we're seeing up there, top 5, top 10, week in, week out. So you're certainly achieving those results by the looks that you're setting out to do. But hopefully you can find that extra little bit that you need to sort of get to the top step of the podium. I might pass you over to Andrew to see if he has any questions for you.
Hi Troy, mate. I don't know if you want to talk to me. I think we had a little bit of a coming together in race 2 on the weekend, so I've got to apologise for that straight away. Mate, great result. You had a 4th place last weekend at Watkins Glen. Another great result. Like Trent said, we're seeing you frequently in the top 10 now. How are you enjoying the series? Are you looking forward to Summit Point, and are you going to come back next series?
Yeah, look, no worries for last weekend. Those things happen. But yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it. It's probably don't know, I've probably had about, I don't know, 10 races, 12 races in this Star Master series, so it's good to finally be moving towards the top. I was driving a lot of the Skip Barber, and it's definitely a different car to drive, so no, it's I'm really enjoying it. I'll be definitely back next season, and yeah, Summit Point is a car that I've done well on before in the Skip Barber, but haven't driven it in the Star Master, so it'll be interesting to see how it transfers to that track.
Yeah, look, and just touching on what you and Trent were talking about before, and that's the drivers in this field, and did you feel comfortable about driving so close and having those battles? It's like with any series, I guess. You get used to the people that you're driving with, and the more you drive with them, the more you know. We don't have anybody silly in this series, which is fantastic. They're all respectful and all give each other room, and I think that really adds another element of enjoyment, because you know you can go out there and nobody's going to make a silly move. So you can race hard, race fair. It's we touch on it week in and week out. It's just a great series to be part of, but it's so competitive at the top end. But we're seeing more drivers move towards that top end. You being one of them. There's Hayden Dodman, Mark Rainey's getting up there. Justin Strickland's usually up there. Riley Preston, who wasn't in there this race. There's probably about 10 guys up there, probably next series, that are going to be battling for that win.
Yeah, it's very competitive. I mean, I really enjoy the series because, you know, for one, there's no setup required, which I touched on last week, but also the level of competition is great. So it's always good to be tested. And, you know, I think hopefully as I move and sort of hopefully consistently get top sort of 5 positions, I'll feel more comfortable in that top group, and hopefully start challenging a bit harder at the front end of the race.
Yeah, look, we always want more people at the top end of the race. I mean, we saw a great battle tonight. There was about 6 of us just looked like everyone was just sitting there waiting for somebody to make a mistake. And as we touched earlier in the broadcast, it's probably not a great idea to wait for a mistake from these guys, because they generally don't make mistakes. So it's going to be really interesting. These last 2 races, we go to Suzuka after Summit Point. You've probably had a lot of experience at Suzuka. It seems to be a pretty popular track.
Yeah, again, none in the Star Mazda, so I'm experiencing a lot of these tracks for the first time in the Star Mazda, but I've obviously driven on Phillip Island, Watkins Glen and Summit Point and Suzuka previously, so it's just a matter of getting used to the extra downforce you get with this car and the speed you can achieve through the corners.
Did we just have a technical
Yeah,
issue?
it looks like he's just vanished. I'm not sure how he got moved to a different channel, but I might just move him back. Sorry about that, Troy. I'm not sure what's happened there, as you were saying.
Yeah, I got moved out. I wasn't sure what was going on, so I was probably talking for another 2 minutes before I realised. But yeah, so it's just getting used to the downforce of this car and how fast you can go through the corners. I'm sort of constantly surprised that I feel like I'm going through the corner as fast as the car can allow, but there is still extra pace there. So hopefully I can, you know, continue to grab a couple of tenths. My qualifying results have been better in the last couple of races, which is something that I've tried to work on, because it's a real hard position if you end up qualifying down 10th and 11th to get towards that pointy end of the field.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And when you look at the times, making the tiniest mistake or the smallest mistake, and what seems to be a minute element of time, is quite a large gap in this series, and that's because of the way the car is. It's a fixed setup, but it's also, you know, the driver's skill as well. I mean, just that small gap can put you from second place down to 10th place, and as you say, it's a massive battle to get back up there with these kind of guys racing at the front.
Yeah, you're going to need some luck along the way to get from sort of 10th up to the front end. You're going to hope for some mistakes along the way as well. So, and as you touched on, these guys at the front don't make mistakes. So I was trying to sit back until probably about lap 20 and then try and move forward, and then Craig made a small mistake and I got past Craig and then I got past Scott. But then, obviously it's one thing to get these positions, another thing to hold on to them.
Yeah, that's right. And that's a clever strategy as well. I mean, we saw and we talked about it. Joshua Anderson usually sends a couple of text messages through iRacing to the guys that are around him, saying, "Let's not battle. Let's just race, keeping the front guys as close as we can towards the end, and then we'll obviously do the battle." And that's a pretty good strategy, because once you start battling with the guys around you, the gap starts to perform at the top. The guys start to get a bit of a gap on you, and then you're losing too much ground battling with the guys around you.
Yeah, well, the first few laps, I was watching the lap times and we were running in the low 29s, high 28s. So I decided to pit early because I felt that I could probably go faster than that on my own. And it almost worked. I came out just behind Joshua and Craig, and he was sending text messages on the iRacing saying, please don't battle. So I thought that was a good idea because we have Marcelo and Gary running out the front. So if we started battling at that point, they would have put a couple of seconds on us, and it would have been hard to get that back.
Yeah, that's right. Those seconds are hard to get back. I know when I was racing in this series, if I'd started down the order, I think Trent started this whole scenario, is we'd pit after the first lap because being in traffic, it was just detrimental to keeping up with the guys in front, and you can run better lap times in clear wind. So we'd probably pit first or second lap, come out, a bit of clear traffic. There was no tow, but there's also no battling, so it works sometimes it didn't.
Yeah, agreed. I normally try to run it right through to close to the end of the tank because you want to try and come back out in the gap so that you're not caught behind back markers, and that's always the problem is if you pit early. But I was fortunate to come out in a nice big gap, and then I think Joshua and Craig must have pitted reasonably early as well. So when I came back out, I was right behind them, and I thought, well, these guys are going to be up the front somewhere, so I'll just run with them for a while and see where it goes.
Yeah, great race, mate. Really entertaining. Good to see you up at the pointy end again. Really looking forward to seeing you next week. Did you want to have a shout out to the sponsors in the team?
Yeah, just a shout out to All Star Motorsport and our sponsors, Rack Corp and Unlimited Services.
Great, thanks, mate.
Thanks a lot, Troy, and congratulations on the result tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Alright, in the commentary box we have our race control guys, Matt Wilkins and Scott Stevens. Matt, Scott, who did what split, and do you have a race report of how the races went?
Scott did split 1, I did split 2. Scott, you can start, mate. You can talk about split 1 if you want.
Oh, okay then. Yeah, I did split 1, and driver briefing gave out a bit of a warning just to give guys a bit of a space in the opening laps, especially like around Honda and coming over Lukey Heights, but unfortunately we had a bit of an incident going into turn 2, so that kind of broke the pack up like a fair bit. But then throughout the race, obviously we had, I think there was about 6 guys battling for the lead pretty much, and that came down to the wire. I think it was 3/100ths of a second, I think it was, that Marcelo won by, so that was a really, really close finish. But then there was other gaps throughout, other battles throughout the race as well, with groups of 4 to 5, maybe up to 6 cars throughout. That some of the guys were commenting on had been really, really good battling and stuff like that. So all in all, it was a good race, other than just the first lap incident, really, which kind of broke up the pack, and only had to give out one drive through. There was a racing incident on one of them where it was kind of 3 wide, and yeah, so that was more of a racing incident because because there's probably all three of them involved in the blame kind of thing. So, but yeah, so that's my race report for Split 1.
Yeah, we just got a replay going at the moment of Battle Pack. Looks like we've got 7 cars, which was for 11th position backwards. So, yeah, as you said, there's Battle Packs throughout the race in that one. Small good racing, didn't get to see all of it, but it's good that we can show the replay now because it was quite intense by the looks of it. This battle down the back, a lot of jostling going on. And so, Matt, Split 2 is what you looked after tonight. How did things go there?
Fairly well. Just had the one drive through for the race, and then a bit of confusion on getting the message across that there was a drive through, but we've discussed that, so no need to go into that. Then I have a post-race penalty for Andrew Kiss. He had a bit of contact with Greg Sharp, I believe it was, at the end of the race. And then he had a little bit of neck code and didn't see that he had actually made contact with Greg. I'm pretty sure it was Greg. But on our screens, we did see the contact, so I'll award him a post-race penalty, and he's agreed with that, so that's all right. But really, after the first 5 laps, the whole field broke up, and it was all pretty single driving. No real battle packs. There was a few here and there, but they got broken up with a few racing incidents. So fairly quiet race in the end, but some good racing overall.
Have you got any of the results from Split 2 that you can share?
Yeah, Michael McCabe has won the race, Ben Daly Jr. second, and Joseph has come in third, TJ Brown fourth, and Nino fifth. I think he can be pretty happy with his racing tonight. He broke away very early on and won by 8 seconds, but there was never really a chance of anyone getting close and getting competitive to him after the first few laps. So I think he'll be happy with that overall. But yeah, not being split one's not good.
Yeah, we did. Sorry, mate.
I was just going to say, I've got he's actually written up on the forums. I'm reading now that he was having a slightly dragged brake pedal during quali, and by the time he worked it out, it was too late. So he probably would have been a top split driver, but couldn't get that lap in during quali, and got to have all your equipment up and running in quali, and that's the important, thing to have it all sorted.
Yeah, it just goes to show that just like in real life, mechanical failures can happen, and they can affect your qualifying and race results.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's always good to recalibrate your gear every couple of months or after every build, and that's what they recommend, and that's what I do, just to keep in good working order. But yeah, Michael McCabe is definitely a top split driver. I did a bit of practice with him on Monday night, and we're having some really good battles around the track. He's definitely a fast driver, so it's really unfortunate for him that you put him in the second split, but he's just showed the calibre of driver he is by taking that second split fairly easy again. We'll see him in split 1 next week, I would presume.
Yeah, I would imagine so. He's obviously he's a quick race driver. Obviously qualifying, he'd be pretty upset with that result. Now the burning question for tonight, Andrew, your driver of the race.
Ooh, thank you. Geez, look, I'd like to give it to Marcelo, but if I was giving it to Marcelo, I'd have to give it to Joshua, and I'd have to give it to Gary, because those three were just battling it. Look, I'm going to give it to Scott Newton. I think he drove a great race. He's improved every week. Yeah, I think he drove a pretty smart race there.
Yeah, I was actually thinking Scott Newton myself. He certainly, he improved from his qualifying position. I don't think he made any mistakes, and he just sort of kept it clean and managed to come home with a pretty good result. So, obviously, other than the top 3 cars, it's I would say, yeah, Scott Newton is probably driver of the race for me. Adrian, I don't know if you're still there or not. Did you have a driver of the night at all?
Yeah, guys, still here. Yeah, I actually might head to the other driver that was there. It was Troy. He did a fantastic job tonight. Yeah, the boys up the front there did a fantastic job, like you've just said, and also Scott, a great drive as well. But yeah, I reckon Troy did a fantastic job tonight, and keeping the car up there, especially trying to keep up with those lead guys. That was an awesome drive by him tonight.
Yeah, you do make a pretty good point there. So I might switch camps and join Team Troy as well.
Well, I think we'll split the Slipstream virtual $1,000 between them.
I'm sure they'll be happy to hear that. Yeah, that virtual prize money. All right, I think that's probably wrapped us up for this evening. So thanks to everyone for watching round 10 of the Star Mazda Australian Championship at Phillip Island. Be sure to join us next week at Summit Point for round 11. Should be a good race there. Hopefully, yeah, we get some good passing and yeah, some good turnouts as well. So, on behalf of Adrian Jarvis, Andrew Gaines, Matt Wilkins, Scott Stevens, I'm Trent Thomas. You've been watching Slipstream. Enjoy your evening.